RocSports. I'm back on another video. As you can tell by the title, this is an NBA video, and we're going to be touching on, well, we're going to be ranking all NBA teams in tiers. Let's get right into it. So, 30 NBA teams, we all know that. We, 40 games in? Let's just say the halfway point for the most part, yeah. And I ranked all teams in tiers, as I said. And I did it in 4 tiers, but two tiers are pretty much the same, if that makes sense. So tier 1, I have my contenders. Tier 2, I have mediocre teams, but can beat and lose to anyone. I'm sorry, that's tier 3. Tier 2 is one piece away. So teams that's one piece away, and again, I'm about to touch on everything. I'm about to rank everything. But so we're just gonna get back to the tiers. Tier 2 is one piece away. Tier 3 is mediocre, but you can beat and lose. These teams can beat and lose to anybody any given night. Not playoffs, so to say, but we're just talking strictly regular season. And from what I've seen so far this year. And then I got tier 3 is teams that should rebuild, and that's pretty much mediocre. Like, you should rebuild, not necessarily deplete your roster, but so should rebuild or make some trades. And I got tier 4, bottom of the barrel. You got to break it up, break the team up. So let's get into all of that right now. So of course, we got to start with the bottom. So teams that should rebuild, let's get right into it. Number 30, I got the Detroit Pistons. As you can see, I'm going to put the picture up on the screen so y'all be looking at it with me. But I got the Detroit Pistons at number 30. And yes, they have shown some flashes. They had their moments, just like any other NBA team. They have some bright spots. I love Sadiq Bey. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is a bright spot. He's been showing flashes, especially of late. Jeremy Grant, I do like Jeremy Grant, but I just don't know about Jeremy Grant as a number 1 option. You know what I mean? I really like Jeremy Grant. I wish that he would have stayed with Denver and been the 3rd option, you know? And I felt like that they should have traded MPJ. Some people may say it's crazy, but I just felt like with the way that they roster set up, I just felt like trades would have been better off for both players and for the team. So yeah, I got the Pistons at 30. You just still rebuilding, obviously. You're probably gonna have the number 1 pick again. If not, it's gonna most likely be top 3. But it's okay. Everybody on their team young. It's just, you know, it's a process. At number 29, I have the Orlando Magic. Another team that's obviously they're bad, but they have some young talent, man. But I think that they must rebuild and continue to rebuild. One, because they don't have enough talent, but also just because they have too much of the same talent, in my opinion. Guys that can do a lot of the same stuff. A lot of guys the same size. Like they don't have a complete team, a complete roster. So obviously they still rebuilding. The Houston Rockets is not at number 28. By the way, shout out to Wendell Carter. Hate that he had that injury. Sucks, he was balling. And Cole Anthony, he's been balling too. Houston Rockets. They got to get some vets on this team, man. They got some young talent. Obviously Jalen Green. Kevin Porter has his moments. I just hope he can get right mentally and, you know, just stay on the straight and narrow. Christian Wood, obviously. But get rid of Eric Gordon and get some real dominance in terms of vets and their dominant presence in the locker room. So, yeah, I got them at 28 still rebuilt. I'm not going to touch on each team and give a whole summary of each team, you know, like a long summary. But 26, I got OKC. Josh Giddey. Man, I think that Josh Giddey may be, especially if we're talking this season, he has to be one of the best players that nobody's talking about, especially as of late. So we talking, I'm not even talking about your players like, he would be on that list with Bey and Cole Anthony, which Cole Anthony get love, but I'm saying, yo, lesser tier players in terms of name popularity, that's straight balling on bad teams, whatever it is, they just balling. He's one of those for sure. He's special. I love watching his game. Complete player, especially offensively. Sacramento Kings, man. Now the Sacramento Kings, I really was honestly about to put them in the next tier, but something just ain't right there. Something just ain't right. They definitely, in my opinion, out of all these teams I just said, I think they have the most talent in terms of the whole roster. But when you look at De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese and Bagley and Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes, and you know what I mean? They got a lot of, I could keep going. They got a lot of talent. And they shouldn't be this bad the way that they are, year in and year out. You know, so I think that they should trade, make some big trades. Get rid of De'Aaron Fox and get rid of Marvin Bagley. That's not a knock on them, but to better your franchise, you're not going nowhere with this right now. You're not. You're just not. So Kings fans, you got to be honest with yourself. Who y'all willing to give up on? Obviously, we all know Marvin Bagley wants out or did want out, and y'all wanted to get rid of him too, but it was hard finding suitors. But De'Aaron Fox, and I'm saying these players that has value so the teams can be better off too. And then so if you trade De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, even a Buddy Hield, as well as Marvin Bagley, you know what you can get with that? You know what I mean? Not in one trade. I'm saying, you know, in multiple trades over the years. I know they're not going to do it, but this is just my take. So yeah, let's get to the next tier, tier 3. By the way, this is my list. This is my opinion. I know this list gonna tick some people off that really follow the NBA. But tier 3, again, should rebuild, should make some trades. Well, should rebuild or maybe just make a couple trades. So, Portland TrailBlazers at number 24. Nothing else needs to be said. Anybody that watched the NBA, you know what you're getting with the Portland TrailBlazers. It's time to break it up. Dame and CJ, get rid of one of them, get rid of both of them. It doesn't matter. It's time to break it up, though. Absolutely. None more needs to be said. That core has run its course, and it's time to break it up. 23, the Indiana Pacers. It's another team that I don't think that they should totally deplete their roster, but shake it up a little bit. So whether it's Sabonis, I actually think that they should keep Sabonis, but Miles Turner and I actually think they should keep Malcolm Brogdon too. But Miles Turner, TJ Warren, maybe Karis LeVert. I like all of these players, by the way. But again, on some of these teams, you have certain guys that do the same thing, and it's just not a good fit. So I think they would be better off on other teams. Not calling these players bad players, but they're bad fits. 22, I got the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Spurs has been shocking me because, again, they're one of those teams that they had their moments just like every NBA team. But I thought that they would have been in tier 4. And so, yeah, they just got to keep rebuilding. They get very young, and, you know, they got to get some more pieces. The Atlanta Hawks. If you watch my last video, you know that as in the Atlanta Hawks, has been one of my biggest disappointments as a whole. Yes, Trae Young is balling, and, you know, you can go down the line in terms of individually, but as a team, the Hawks should not be nowhere near where they are right now. And it's surprising because I thought that they would have not took another leap, but been pretty much right where they was last year. And they're not the same team. They have way too much talent to be on that. As well as the next team I'm about to name is in number 20, the New York Knicks. Same thing. They just made the trade today for Cam Reddish. I love it. I love it. I love it. It goes back to what I was saying about Michael Porter Jr. I just think that the Hawks have too much talent where you wasn't going to get maximize Cam Reddish, if that makes sense. You could argue the same thing with New York Knicks because they have obviously Julius Randle and RJ Barrett and D Rose and Kimball when they come back, you know, and Evan Fournier. Like, they have a lot of pieces, but I think that this is a better fit for Cam Reddish, and I like him being in New York for sure. He back with RJ Barrett. I'm a Duke fan, so I love that. Number 19, man. They really should be in tier 3. But I'm not willing to go there just yet. But at number 19, my last team for the tier, the Minnesota Timberwolves. If they was a little bit higher in terms of seeding wise, I would have had them as one of my surprises. But at the same time, they do have some big time talent in Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. Karl Anthony Towns looked like, to me, he's back to all-star level. And Anthony Edwards, man, he's the real deal. So, and obviously you got D'Angelo Russell, and they got some pieces, but they still got to make a couple trades or keep. I feel like the Timberwolves is a team that you don't need to keep rebuilding through the draft now. Get some vets to finish that roster off. Get some proven players to finish that off. So let's go. Next tier, we in same tier, tier 3. So we're gonna keep it going. At 18. But I got this tier listed different. It's still 3, but it's kind of like 3.5, or you know, or 2.5. But so I got mediocre, but these teams can beat and lose to anyone on any given night, so to say. 18, I got the Boston Celtics. Now, in my opinion, the Boston Celtics should trade Jaylen Brown. It goes back to my whole purpose of this video. Yes, he's a stud. Jason Tatum's a stud. But I just think maximizing your team value, if they was to trade Jaylen Brown for a package and you get some pieces back to complete your roster, no young players, because Boston good on that, I think that they would be better off. Loving what I'm seeing at number 17, I got the Charlotte Hornets. Loving what I'm seeing for them. They're a team that's, I think they right where they need to be. If anybody should be moved, maybe, honestly, I think it may be Terry Rozier. But I love them though. I don't think that he should be moved like a guarantee, but I could see him being moved. You know what I mean? But I actually would like Terry Rozier on a contending team if he was like back in his role that he had in Boston. I really like that Terry Rozier, but I know he wants to start, you know, whatever. But Charlotte as a team, I'm loving what I'm seeing. They steady improving. They have their moments. You can still see the young team in them, but they're only going to get better. At 16, I got the LA Clippers. They're mediocre. It's just that simple because they without their 2 best players. So there's nothing else need to be said about the Clippers. Everybody know what they are. At number 15, I got the Toronto Raptors. Absolutely. They're mediocre for sure, but the Raptors are one of those teams under the radar that has talent, man. Scotty Barnes is a stud. Absolutely. Been one of the most consistent rookies all year. He had his struggling moments, but he's the real deal. Obviously, Siakam is back finding his footing and stuff now. Van Fleet is obviously still there. But, yeah, they just mediocre, though. You know, they're not terrible. When you're thinking of the worst teams, like I just been naming, Toronto's not in that list. But when you're thinking of them teams that's, you know, legit, they're not on that list either. So I feel like I put them right where they need to be. At 14, another one of my shockers this year, the Wizards. I thought the Wizards would have been in one of the previous tiers. Because in terms of talent, I do like some of the pieces they got, young players and established players, or your vets. But I just feel like I didn't see them coming because I didn't know how the Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley Beal would fit. I didn't know how Kuz would fit, which Kuz, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Kuz this year. Kuz is really coming into his own, man, in terms of not just scoring the ball. People are going to be fascinated by his stats, but like the maturity and the experience, you can see it in this game. So shout out to the Wizards, man. They doing their thing. Yes, it's not the best of the records, but it's much better than what I thought. So at number 13, the Denver Nuggets. A team that should easily be better, even without Jamal Murray. But because of without Jamal Murray, I'm not going to hold them too much and MPJ. But, yeah, Denver Nuggets right at the first team of this tier, so they could have been easily in the next tier. But, yeah, so that's it with tier 2.5. Let's go to 2. So the top 12 teams. At number 12, again, this is tier 2, and I got this for these teams that's one piece away. So at number 12, I got Dallas Mavericks. Dallas is a team that I'm not worried about in terms of the regular season. They can float anywhere between 4 and 8. And we know that if they in the playoffs, they give anybody problems, honestly. I don't think nobody will 4-1 them or 4-0 them. They will for sure take anybody, in my opinion, to 6 games, including Golden State, just because of the way that the NBA play. They can hit threes and Luka. But they would obviously be a little bit better if Luka didn't miss some of the games that he did, obviously. But Jalen Brunson, shout out to Jalen Brunson. I just like their pieces, but I do feel like they one piece away. I feel like that they should trade Porzingis and package something else if you need to, whether it's a pick or whatever. But because you can argue that they don't even need no young players. They really don't. That's a pretty established veteran team, but I think that they one key piece away. Like if you was to take out Porzingis and add Jeremy Grant to this roster. I would love that fit. Yeah, you may say Kleber or Finney-Smith, they kind of do the same stuff, but nah, Jeremy Grant's better. If you was to package like a Porzingis and Finney-Smith and go get Jeremy Grant and a pick or something, you know what I mean, and flex that again. Like, I just feel like Dallas is one big piece away from really being a contender. So yeah, at number 11, man, the Lakers. Biggest, you could argue one of the biggest disappointments of the league too, for sure. They could have easily been in my last tier because I feel like they have to make a couple trades. They're not necessarily one piece away. So I really, now that I'm looking at this list, I shouldn't have had the Lakers at 11. But at the same time, that one piece could be the AD. Yes, AD wasn't AD before he got hurt. So Lakers fans is hanging your hope on, oh, we got AD coming. He wasn't even AD when, you know what I mean? But if they was to trade Russ, like I had said from the beginning, I never saw this fit working. Meaning Westbrook on this team. I don't see it. I don't see it. So that, yes, they should trade Westbrook, in my opinion, absolutely. He's not the only problem, but he is the biggest problem, in my opinion. Him and AD are the two biggest problems. And then you go into, you know, age and so on and so forth. But, so I got the Lakers at 11, but I do think that it's a chance that they obviously can still turn it around with all that experience and their star power. At number 10, man, the 76ers, one piece away. I think that the 76ers is the one team on here that's the true epitome of one piece away. Obviously, that one piece could be Ben Simmons if he worked on his jump shot. And I love Ben Simmons, but that's just the reality. But that one piece could be that Ben Simmons trade. If it's not looking good, Woj just reported about the players that was pretty much involved with, like that was on the table for Ben Simmons, and it was like Sabonis and John Collins and great players, good players, but that's not a good fit, go back to fit. So they one piece away for sure. Cleveland Cavaliers, man, one of the biggest surprises of the season. Got them at number 9. Oh, shout out to Embiid for still being that MVP and carrying his team for sure. And LeBron for doing everything that he can. So to his, you know, detriment, it's not resulting in wins all the time, but he's still doing his thing. He's LeBron. But yeah, man, Cleveland, one of the biggest surprises for sure. Evan Mobley, bona fide stud, absolutely. Darius Garland, bona fide stud. Where do we rank Darius Garland among point guards in the East? We go Trae Young, we got LaMelo, obviously Kyrie, Harden, however you want to categorize them as. But Darius Garland got to be in that conversation for sure, man. Got to be in that conversation. This team, this is a team I was like, what the hell are they doing? And it turns all of the big men, Larry Marketing at 3, and you know, Evan Mobley and Jaren Allen, but they doing it, man. Shout out to them. They doing it. At number 8, I got the Miami Heat. Now, to me, the Heat are just one of those teams that's just waiting for the playoffs, so to say, you know? So I don't really think as much need to be said on the Heat. They one piece away is just everybody being there. I don't think the Heat need nothing. I think what they will get out of this group is already there. Everything that they need, I feel like, is on their roster. It's just a matter of them being healthy. So yeah, Heat at number 8. At number 7, I got Memphis Grizzlies. Hey, right there, man. You get the Memphis Grizzlies, one more piece. One more piece. And that one more piece could be Dillon Brooks. And again, they could have all the pieces there because Dillon Brooks has been in and out of the lineup, as well as Ja. But this is a real team, man. Nobody saw this coming. They got some players on this roster, for sure. And they've been beating all of the big dogs. Ja Morant, MVP candidate, for sure. Emerging superstar, the truth. So yeah, shout out to them boys in Memphis, man. And yeah, so that's wrapping up tier 2. Let's get into tier 1, the contenders. So tier 1 is where it get real now. Contenders. Number 6, I got the Milwaukee Bucks. Do I think that they're let me first and foremost say this. Any of the teams that's on this list, I feel like they can beat any of the teams that's on this list. I got Milwaukee at 6 because just like the Heat, I feel like Milwaukee know who they are. Yes, the Heat haven't won none as a group, but like they pretty much know who they are. And yeah, the Bucks are definitely that team. I feel like they're just coasting. They that team that's, you know how you had that team every year, that team that's, are we there yet? Meaning the playoffs or the championship, whatever, the finals. The Bucks is that team this year, for sure. When they four lineup play together, still dominant, for sure. So I got them at number 6 just because they haven't been there the whole time. And I like to reward regular season winning. Not that they're losing, but the other teams are just winning more. So at number 5, I got Utah Jazz. Now, they could have arguably been in my next tier, meaning one piece away, because I don't think necessarily that they can beat the other teams in this 7-game series. But I do still think that they're a contender, though. You have to respect the winning. Donovan Mitchell is a stud. He's a star. But again, I got respect for them. I do. At number 4, Brooklyn Nets. Easily could be higher, like I said. You can match these teams however you want to. I wouldn't mind. You could have number 1 and number 6, number 2 and number, it don't matter. Brooklyn Nets is number 4. Nothing else needs to be said. Kyrie just got back. They just dominated my Bulls last night. So, but we still leading that season series though, 2-1. But fully healthy, they the favorites. Simple. Especially in the East. Number 3, I got Golden State. Golden State could be number 2, but they've been on a little slack lately. Yes, they won the last couple of, but you know how hot they were starting off. They slowly, you know, slowed down a little bit, including Curry. But they still elite. Obviously, Clay just got back, which is great for sports, period. Not just the NBA, but sports, period. So that's great to see. So yeah, I got them at number 3. At number 2, the biggest surprise of the season, the Bulls, the team that wasn't supposed to make the playoffs or qualify, see it to be contender for the play-in. I got them at number 2. I don't think right now, just being honest, that the Bulls would beat Brooklyn or Milwaukee, or a chance for Milwaukee, honestly. But I don't think that they would beat Brooklyn, and not just because of what we saw yesterday, but just for obvious reasons. I don't think that they'll beat Golden State. Maybe Phoenix, though. I do like the Bulls matchup against Phoenix. It's going to be very interesting to see when we play them this year, how we match up with them. Bulls play Golden State tomorrow. Very interesting to watch. But yeah, man, the Bulls are definitely a contender. They can stay on this pace of what they're doing. They get everybody back healthy. This is a hell of a team, a great team, both ends of the court, as well as all these teams on this list. At number 1, I got the Phoenix Suns, man. I wasn't sold on the Suns last year, honestly. I felt like if other teams were healthy, that they would have got knocked off. But to their credit, they shutting me up, people like me up. They proving that there wasn't no fluke, that they the real deal. Chris Paul is that leader that everybody think and say he is. Devin Booker is a superstar, emerging superstar. DeAndre Ayton and Mikal Bridges is only getting better. And they got depth, man. So, yeah. I think that they're the best team in basketball right now. They've been the most consistent. And they've been the least hit by injury, COVID, etc. So, yeah, man, those my full contenders. We at the halfway point. Playoffs is really not that far off. So, yeah, that's pretty much wrapping up everything with this video. I'm going to go ahead and check out. I know this is a long video, me rambling. But that's it, though, man. I'm RocSports. Stay tuned for more RocSports checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm going to be dropping more content.